Welcome bio cleaners. So today we're going to do another video for you, and this is going to cover the information dealing with your chemical lines and how you couple that together. So today we're going to have, for demonstration purposes, just a short little hose. We've got a couple sections of chemical line. We're going to take you through step by step how you couple these together and why you would actually mount these pinch clamps a certain way. What is the reason? Can you just mount it any old way, or is there a reason as to why you want to perhaps crimp them in a certain position? So let's pay attention over the next couple minutes here as we cover this, and hopefully we won't cut our fingers. Okay, so what we're going to do first step is, you see we've got two lines and they're connected by a thin little piece of vinyl together. So what we have to do is we have to slice that so we can separate those two lines. This is the part that, in my opinion, is most dangerous, and I've cut my fingers many times because I'm stupid. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually slice those apart 4 inches back from the start. So let's go ahead and do that. Again, that's 4 inches or so. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm keeping my hands far enough away from it so that if something slips, I'm not going to cut my hand again. But now we've cut the one very close to the one tube, but we have that little connecting section on the other side stuck to it. So I'm going to take my razor and I'm going to trim that junk off as well. So it's just the tubes by themselves. Always be careful so you don't dig so deep into the tube that you actually compromise the strength of it. You don't want to leak right where your union is. So this is a little piece that I cut out. Probably can't see that in the video, but we're just going to get rid of that. That's garbage. All right, so there's the one. We have that ready. Let's take a look at the next one. We're going to do the same procedure. I'm going to split them about 4 inches back. There we go. Get the other side and get that little section out of there. Okay, so that one's done. So now we've got 2 of them that are set up and they're ready. The next step, if you're in a shop, that's great. You don't need that, but it does come in handy just to apply a little bit of heat. Make sure that your tubing is flexible. So I usually use a torch if I'm going to do it. Again, it's not absolutely necessary, but it does kind of help with the inserting of the union. So I'm just going to kiss it with a torch a little bit, just kind of warm those up. Do the next one. Out of the way. All right, so those are heated up, and now our attention turns to the union. And we're going to insert a screenshot of what that looks like, but basically we've got barbs on one side, a raised collar in the middle, and then barbs on the other side. That raised collar is to give you a stopping point when you insert that into the tube. This union is unique to BioClean. And we have these specially made. We have to buy 5 to 10,000 at a time. But they work out really good. I've tried some other ones that don't have this raised collar, and that's just an absolute disaster. In addition to that collar being there, which gives you a nice stopping point, make sure that that barb doesn't push into the other tubing. The thickness of the wall is thicker. We've requested a thicker wall, so they take a lot more abuse, where the aftermarket ones that are out there are not only missing the collar, but they're very thin as well, and they're prone to cracking and breaking. So this is the union we're going to use. I think the part number that we have is a GN16, but don't test my memory because I am 53 years old. So anyway, let's go ahead and insert that. We just take it, and with that being a little softer, it just pushes right in. We can see, probably can't see that in the video, but pushes right up to that collar. So let's do the same thing with the other side. And again, it pushes right in. A little stiffer. a lot stiffer. And you can lube these too, which helps. This one's a lot stiffer. And I did lube it. There we go. So I had trouble grabbing the tubing. So anyway, now we've got those on there. They're pushed right up to that collar. They're ready. Now we come to our pinch clamps. We don't want to forget these because that can happen. So we'll slide those on there. We'll put those to work in a little bit. Got one for each side. And now let's look at our other one. So I've got this one, and this one's cooled off. So I'm going to heat it up again because I took too long. All right. Again, we don't want to forget our pinch clamps. So let's put those on right now. Okay, so the one side you see the clear line, the other side has that pinkish purple line all the way down the length of the hose. We want those to match up between the two sections. So we do not want to do this because of course what that means is that your chemical is going to basically get reversed where we have clear mating with purple line, purple mating with clear line. That's a big no-no. So we'll flip that around here, make sure that colors are correct. So purple meets purple, clear meets with clear. And I can't tell you how important that is because I've seen that get mixed up many times. And then people wash backwards and they're putting soap on first, acid second. First of all, it doesn't clean very good, but you don't want to finish with acid because as you walk away, even though you might rinse it off, it's going to continue to burn into the aluminum. So you definitely want to make sure that's neutralized with the soap. So now we come to the point where we have our pinch clamps. So we're wondering, can we just pinch those any way we feel like it? Can they be crooked? Maybe one facing out, one facing up, and just throw it on there? Well, that will give us a nice solid seal. There's truth to that. But eventually, quite likely anyway, this hose is going to retract into the casing that it sits in. So let's just say, for argument's sake, that all of our pinch clamps are facing up, like so. So in this case, we have all of our pinch clamps facing up. Well, look what happens when we feed that line in. As we do, pretty soon we get to the point where we get to our casing, and I don't know if that can be zeroed in a little bit better or not with our awesome camera guy. But we see that the pinch clamp, the top ear, is actually running into the casing, and it's going to restrict this chemical line actually retracting into the casing properly. So what can we do to make sure that doesn't happen? The trick is to spin those so they're facing kind of down, not 100% down because then they would run into the hose, but at almost like a 45-degree angle. So we spin that just a little bit. We'll do the same thing with the other one. Line those up. So now they're facing more at a 45-degree angle. And so as they feed into that hose, they're going to do so much, much easier, especially if you don't have a fitting right there. And so they will fit into it a lot easier that way. They're not going to get caught up on the outside of the casing. So that looks good. So again, you can see that. Kind of a 45-degree angle. And then the best way to crimp those, I found, is with a side cutters that is traditionally used for electrical wire and such. But I just grab the side cutters, grab the ear, squeeze it. Okay, make sure the next one is lined up where you want it. Grab the side cutters, grab the ear, squeeze it. And do the same for the other side. Grab the ear, squeeze it. grab the ear, squeeze it. And that's that. So now we have a nice solid connection that seals very neatly around those barbed unions, and the chemical is going to pass through there. As you might imagine, the more of these unions you have in the chemical line, the more restriction you're going to have as the chemical passes through there. So you want to try and keep these to a minimum if at all possible and treat these very well. So I don't like to have more than 3 or 4 of these in a 100-foot sectional line. But at any rate, so now we've set it up so that it'll pass right in there, and it goes into the casing very easily. In another video, we talk about this connection getting run over and leaking. If you're wondering about how do you find that, maybe watch that video, and you'll kind of learn just how that happens and how you can actually find the leak. So that is that. So appreciate everyone watching our video here, and wash on.